did it today too. I know. I even put eyes on the paper.
Mine was not. Oh. I have a little light on my phone.
If not, why don't I just, this is power.
I don't know. I know, but maybe it's on and off.
That would be funny.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
No, you have a mint? Actually, okay. Okay. I guess I should start buying my own. Oh. Maria didn't take me by that stand.
What was it?
Where the mints were.
Oh, what? I will take them in. Actually, oh my gosh. Lizana Smith? When was that? How did I miss that one? How did I win?
I was like, Maria didn't take me to that one.
Actually, Julio really helped me out. Thank you. Ready? This is a roll call, though, right?
What's that?
This one is roll call,
Yes.
so it's not going to be this.
Right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Do you want to use this?
I might
Yeah,
need to.
just go ahead.
Thanks. Do you mind if I just
No,
share?
go ahead. Go ahead. Don't worry about it. Oh, I'm sorry.
For those of you who've joined us after closed session, I'm Jeff Conwell, Board President. I'd like to introduce my fellow trustees, Maria Haug, Lisa Pelosi, Jeannie Kerr, and Julio Olguin. Also joining us this evening, Student Representative Ms. Sammy Raven. Thanks for coming tonight. Also, I'd like to introduce our excellent district staff, Superintendent Dr. Mary Lou Wilson, Chief Business Official Ms. Andy Stubbs, Chief Academic and Human Resources Officer Mr. Christopher Heller, Executive Assistant to the Superintendent and Governing Board, Ms. Erica Madrigal. Thanks for being here tonight. We're delighted that you are here this evening and in person, and we do have some people in the crowd now, or viewing on Channel 27 or our new YouTube channel. A copy of the board meeting video will also be available on our website at www.stlinunified.org. In connection with items A and B, the board received information and provided staff with direction. In connection with closed session item C, the board considered the administration's recommendation to expel one student.
I believe you need to call for a motion, President Conwell, and then we'll take a roll call vote.
Okay, perfect. I will accept a motion to expel student number 6644.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
As many of you are in favor of the expulsion, I'll take a roll call vote now. If you are in favor, please indicate aye. If you are not in favor, indicate no. Trustee Olguin?
Aye.
Trustee Kerr?
Aye.
Trustee Pelosi?
Aye.
Vice President Haug?
Aye.
President Conwell?
Aye.
President Conwell, would you like to call them?
Yes, I will say that the motion has passed at this point. So at this point, we're on to item number 5B, which would be flag salute. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We are on to item number 6. This is public comment on open session items. Reminder that if there is an agenda item tonight, we will give you an opportunity to speak to the board. If somebody wishes to discuss something that is not on the agenda tonight, this would be your opportunity to do so. The instructions are up on the television monitor. Please come on up to the microphone. Thanks.
Hello.
Hi.
My name's Doug Pike. This is my wife, Jennifer Pike. Some of you may not know me. I prepared some notes. Go ahead.
Mr. Pike, can I get you to speak into the microphone? Thank you. We want to make sure that
Let
you
me
can
go
be
ahead
heard.
and read from my notes. Thank you. We are here today to request your consideration to allow our 3 daughters who are currently enrolled in the Middletown School District to enroll in St. Helena Unified School District for the 2019 and 2020 year and beyond. A little background on ourselves. I've been the St. Helena High School varsity and junior varsity golf coach for the past 10 plus years. Prior to that, I was an assistant volunteer coach for the high school golf team as well. I've been in Medwood for about 22 years as the head golf professional, so I've spent a lot of time, invested a lot of my time within this community, helping to grow and develop all of our kids and those parents as well in this wonderful spot. My wife Jennifer is here today. She's also very connected within this community. She's worked at Medwood for 15 years in the capacity of catering, helped plan many of the parties, including charity events such as the Napa Valley Wine Auction. My point to this is that we spent together 37 years of our lives in this community. We've developed a lot of great relationships. And most importantly, I missed the deadline for the district of choice. Completely my fault. And I was under the impression that as a faculty member part-time, that I was able to allow our children to enroll, and apparently this next coming season or year, that has changed, effective July 1st, I believe. So we're here to ask that you consider allowing them to attend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to address the board? Okay, we are on to item number 7, which is a presentation by the student representative to the board, Sam Rabin.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Thanks. So since school just started on Monday, I was not able to make it to all the school sites, but I will be sharing a little bit about the high school, mostly just about some changes and some things that have been happening in the leadership class. So the police chief came in on Tuesday and introduced himself and talked to the students about how he wants to become more involved and meet a lot of the students and how his fellow officers would like to as well. And so he himself and his officers are going to start coming in and helping in the PE classes maybe, and just walking around campus and getting to know some of the students so that the only interactions aren't police business, so that they can build more of a community. And so they're also going to be coming to have lunch with some students, just walk around and get to know people. We are also starting a new project in leadership where the students are creating subcommittees aside from their original committees in order to address specific projects that they're passionate about. So these can be anywhere from 3 and up, the number of students in them, and this will allow them to give specific attention to areas that are important to them, both within the school and within the surrounding community. And a few of the ideas so far are one about to help the environment, to kind of reboot the Green Initiative, or to increase student involvement on campus. So yeah, that'll be starting within the next few weeks or so. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Very much. We are on to a presentation by the high school English language learners of the district.
Good evening, everybody.
Ellen.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I'm going to start. As part of our English language development presentation tonight, I thought we'd start off with some of our students that have been served by our language program within the district. They're going to introduce themselves and tell you how long they've been in the district. As the 3 of the students are currently seniors, they have been reclassified as fluent English speakers this year, and that's called RFEP. So they're going to share a little bit about their story and answer some questions that are up here. Each student will tell their name, how long they've been in the district, and answer a select question that will be up on the board. We'll start off with our first student.
My name is Luis Robledo, and I've been in the St. Helena district since 3rd grade. And what made a difference in your educational journey? For me, I felt like I didn't really have that much support at home, but when I came into the RLS, our counselor, she really helped me, she would always check in on me and made sure that like I had really good grades and stuff, and that really helped me.
Hello, my name is Jordi Ramirez. I was first in Po Valley Elementary School, then I moved to Howell Mountain, then I'm in high school. If I could start all over, I would read more books, basically get a dictionary that translated words, because at home I didn't have like help or anyone to like help me to improve my English. Yeah.
Thank you.
And what challenges have you had throughout your education, and how did you overcome them? Well, one of the biggest challenges that I had in 6th grade, I believe, I was diagnosed with ADHD, and I would just like not pay attention in class, and it was really hard for me. And I had a choice to either take medication to help me or not and just suffer from ADHD, but I decided to take the medication. And when I was on the medication, like, I just would not talk to my friends or anything. Like, I don't know, it just made me feel weird. But in the end, it like kind of helped me, because I believe in 6th grade, I had a really bad GPA. I had like a .75. And with the medication, I got up to a 3.75, or no, 3.7, yeah. So that really helped me.
Hi, my name is Giovanna, and I come here in 3rd grade. And what do I want to pursue after graduation? Something that I want to do is become a physical therapist. But first, I'm going to community college, and after that, I'm planning on transferring to a 4-year college or university. Yeah, but that's it.
Again, we're going to address our English language development program later on in tonight's meeting. But if you have any questions for these 3 students, please feel free to ask them.
Trustees, any questions? No.
I have just a comment that thank you. I know it's not easy to have public speaking in a room full of people with television cameras on you, and you all did exceptionally well. And I think that I can speak for everyone up here that we're really happy for you and what you've achieved at our district.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming and sharing with us.
Mrs. Allen, will you bring the students around the dais?
Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you.
Want to do a picture? Yes. Do you want us to? We'll do a photo. Trustees, will you guys?
Okay, watch the cords.
That's right. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in.
Oh, yeah.
That air was really good.
All right. Okay, we are on to item number 8, information and discussion on residency audit. And at this point, Dr. Wilson, please.
Yes. Good evening, board members. Earlier in the school year, I asked Erica to conduct a residency audit. We frequently have concerns whether families are living within our residence, and as we are working to ensure that all of our records are accurate, she spent time going through every record within our school district. And as you know, at the last board meeting in December, we talked a lot about the administrative regulation language around employees and whether or not who constitutes an employee. And as of July 1st, the administrative regulation will indicate that a classified or certificated employee could enroll their students in our school. As a result of that change, you directed me to develop a resolution for your consideration at a future board meeting that, if approved, will allow the students of those previously at-will employees, those students would be allowed to continue to stay in our schools. All of this is colliding at the same time, and that notion around transparency and being holding the integrity of board policy, the audit brought forward a number of cases that I felt compelled to bring to you as a board to seek direction as far as our next steps. You set board policy, I enforce the board policy, and I want to make sure that I am meeting the needs of our governing board. And so tonight you have 4 cases in front of you, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And President Conwell, if you could work with the governing board to seek further direction as to next steps with these 4 cases, it will help me as I look at move forward with board policy and carry on district business. Erica, if you could put the slide that shows options, I think that it will look awfully familiar to you as a board. These were the same options that you saw last month as far as impact of the residency audit instead of the change in the AR, fulfill the residency requirements and live in the school district, become a classified or certificated employee, participate in the District of Choice program, and then that 4th option could be that you would direct me to somehow include these cases within that resolution that I am working on at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. At this point, we're open for public comment if anybody wishes to publicly comment on this agenda item. As always, please limit your comments to 3 minutes so the board can discuss theirs, and then we'll go on to the next step.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll try here. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Good evening, and thank you for your time. My name is Brandy Jimenez, and I am the mother of Christian and Isabella Jimenez. Christian is 12 years old and in the 7th grade at the RLS. Isabella is 8 years old and in 3rd grade at the elementary. Both children have been attending school here in St. Helena since kindergarten. Christian enrolled in kindergarten in the fall of 2011 and Isabella in the fall of 2015. Our home is in the Berryessa Highlands, which is located 40 minutes almost equally between Napa and St. Helena. Our address is 1049 East Ridge Drive, Napa. We have made our home in Lake Berryessa since before Christian was born. I work in St. Helena at Malloy, Emery, and Vasconi Insurance full-time and have for almost 14 years as an accounting manager. My husband, Ramiro Jimenez, works as a sales manager for H&E and is based out of Benicia. We were recently notified after a residency audit that our address, as the letter specifically stated, is no longer in the St. Helena Unified School District, and that Napa is our correct district. As you can imagine, this was shocking and alarming to us. I specifically remember being told that we were in district and have never had any problems or questions during enrollment or when submitting our residency paperwork each year. Very simple, no problems, no transfer, and no questions. I also remember how grateful I was being able to have my children in school close to where I work each day. This is something that is very valuable and important to us as parents. We are now being told that allowing us into the district was a staff error. While we have taken the necessary steps and submitted district of choice applications for both children for the 1920 school year, and since it is a lottery, not a guarantee, we come before you and respectfully request that the proposed resolution be approved and our children be grandfathered into the school district in order to continue attending school in the St. Helena district for the remainder of their educational career. Having one parent working full-time in St. Helena and the other parent based in Benicia makes attendance in Napa impossible. Neither job is in Napa, and we do not have family in Napa to help us with transportation or after-school activities and sports. Thank you for consideration, and my husband will speak separately in the 3-minute time frame, please. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Romero Jimenez, and I'm the father of Christian and Isabella Jimenez. Now that my wife has explained all the facts and expressed our concerns, I would like to touch on just how solidly grounded our family is here in St. Helena, and tell you a little bit about our family and our commitment and involvement to the community. Our ties and commitments to St. Helena community are very strong. Both of our children have grown up as regular participants at the Boys and Girls Club located here at right by the elementary. The activities and sports our children participate in are firmly rooted and in St. Helena community. These activities include baseball, both for St. Helena Little League, St. Helena All-Stars, Carpy Gang football, Carpy Gang cheer, Little Feet and Dance, what Bella's doing, and RLS wrestling, and both Boys and Girls Clubs and St. Helena Rec basketball. Many of these activities and sports have been for several consecutive years. For example, Christian has played baseball for 6 years and football for 4 years, while Isabella has participated in cheerleading and baseball for 2 years. So as you can imagine, they have built a strong relationship with the coaches, teammates as well, and friends. As parents, we also are both actively involved in the community. As their father, I have been coaching in the St. Helena community since Christian began playing sports. I've coached for St. Helena Little League, Carpy Gang, basketball, Boys and Girls Club, and at the rec. My wife, Brandy, has assisted in coaching for St. Helena Little League, served as team mom, communications, and coordinator the last 2 years, and served as a volunteer coordinator for St. Helena Carpy Gang. We as parents are completely dedicated to the commitment to St. Helena community and our children, without a doubt deeply rooted in St. Helena. Both children have done academically in school as well. Last year in the first semester, Christian got a 4.0 at the RLS, followed by a 3.5 and a 3.0. As well, he placed second in the divisions for the RLS wrestling team last year, and now is starting to wrestle this year for 2019. Isabella is thriving at the elementary school with her amazing teacher, Miss Rodriguez, and incredible principal, Miss Pearson. Allowing our children to stay in attendance to St. Helena School District, the only district and school they have known for their life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that wishes to give public comment to address this? Okay. Thank you very much for checking. Okay, trustees, we dealt with this last month, so it's familiar. unfortunately, and it's coming back. So the way I would like to handle this is to treat it just as case 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and separate each one, and we'll just go kind of through that. We'll start with case 1. And everyone, it's a student in attendance in 11th grade due to challenges, complexity of earning high school diploma, historically staff grants, inter-district attendance agreement for students who will be in the 12th grade. So I'm going to open that up to trustees.
I believe it's my understanding that it has been a common practice that has allowed to happen in the course of the last few years, for the reason being that it's very difficult for a senior to just complete credits and complete high school, perhaps with changing schools. I believe that's correct in my thinking, right? So personally, I don't have any objection to that student finishing out their career here with St. Helena High School.
I would agree with Trustee Pelosi with that.
I'm along the same lines of thinking with allowing the student to graduate if it's been in the policy.
And again, we're halfway through the 11th grade, so I concur with my colleagues.
Okay, so I also agree. So we have a unanimous board because under AR 51-117.1, it does state that.
Right.
So I'm totally comfortable with following the policies.
Correct.
Case 1 continues. Okay, we're on to case 2, which is one student in attendance, grade 1. Family originally lived in attendance area since kindergarten. Family moved out of attendance area during the school year.
I'll go. For case 2, I think the family should, because I think the way the policy is written, if I'm correct, is it if they were to not continue, that the district could pull the student out at the next grading period. And so I think that would be difficult for the families to do that. So I would suggest that if we would basically make it an option for them to finish out the school year, and then they would have to either follow one of the 3 guidelines of living in the residency or being an employee of the St. Helena Unified School District, or going through the district of choice for the future.
Excuse me. I would agree with Trustee Olguin on that one, and I absolutely believe that this student should finish the year, just because it's disruptive to the family and certainly the student, with the hope of being able to come back into St. Helena, into the residency area, and hopefully they would be able to remedy. It gives them some time to remedy that.
I would also agree with that line of thinking.
I'm also okay with finishing out the school year, but then they have to qualify for one of the residency or employee requirements.
And I do agree. What I'm looking at is board policy 51-117.1, and there's a sentence in there, and I think we need to take it back to the board policy committee, because it does say that if recognize that a student who resides in one district may choose to attend another district after the student has moved to another district at the end of the grading period. And I think the board is feeling that we need to extend that to the end of the calendar school year, right? So if I could, can we put that on the agenda for our next policy meeting?
Yes.
Thanks. Okay, we're on to case number 3, which is 2 students in attendance, 3rd and 7th grade, due to staff errors. The students have attended St. Helena Unified School District schools since kindergarten.
Sure. For me, I mean, I know it's a staff error, but for me, it still boils down to the policy. And for me, with a lot of these cases, I know it really just, for me, I look at it as a fairness issue. And I would feel bad if we allowed these students to be enrolled when a lot of the other parents have to go through the same process of the district of choice lottery. And if we were to allow them to stay in, and it would be a fairness thing for me. So kind of along the same lines with this case, is it to finish out the school year, and then they would apply, which they already applied for the lottery. So I'm hoping that they get that and that they can continue in the district.
I agree with that thinking. And I think sometimes it's important that we reiterate some information regarding district of choice students that come to our district, because I think a lot of the times people don't realize in our community that there are dollars that are tied to students that come to our district. And that is the reason for that program. And while we certainly wish we could open our doors and educate anybody who want to be educated in St. Helena Unified, we do, as a board, have a responsibility for oversight in government, and that includes fiscal oversight and responsibility. And so part of the reason why that policy was put into place to begin with was because of there was a financial aspect tied to it, obviously, because if you have 50 kids coming into St. Helena Unified from districts where the dollars do not follow them, and sometimes that happens, it doesn't happen with every district, but then all of a sudden our budgetary restraints and spending changes significantly. And it's not, and I don't want to make this about a dollar sign on a student, but that is a responsibility that we bear as board members. So we always have to be mindful of keeping things fair in that line, as Trustee Olguin mentioned. So I would agree that while it's obviously awful that there was a staff error that's been gone on for this long. And I hope that there is some kind of maybe resolution that can happen with the county with as far as redistricting or something like that. I mean, maybe there is, I don't know if that even exists. I'm just throwing that out there because perhaps that's something that gets dealt with on a county level. But I do agree that pulling children out in the middle of the school year is not something I would like to see happen in this case as well. And then I do believe in the guise of fairness, it has to continue with what is going to be protocol for everybody. A long answer, I'm sorry, but.
Again, I agree with my colleagues as far as finishing out the year. I think that none of us wants to cause disruption to children's education. But I'm also in agreement that hopefully the family will continue to apply through district of choice to remain in the district, even if this year is unsuccessful.
I would agree with my colleagues as well, and absolutely the students should stay in until the end of the year.
So that makes it unanimous as well that we will work on that board policy. We're on to case number 4. One student in attendance, third grade. Family originally lived in attendance area and has been at St. Helena Unified School District since kindergarten. Family was displaced due to a landlord's plans to remodel. This potential temporary situation has become long-term, and the family is not guaranteed housing in St. Helena.
I could go first. I think that along with the other cases, I think we would like the student to fill out the school year. I don't know if they've missed the deadline for district of choice or not. If they have not, I hope they've applied for district of choice, but it might end up being that they have to reapply to district of choice next year to remain in the district.
Go ahead.
I would agree with the same kind of the situation. It's obviously a difficult situation to be displaced. I think they were extended some time period last year, and so extending it this year, I think, would be sufficient to have that matter resolved. And hopefully by the end of the school year, and hopefully the landlord allows them to move back to their apartment so that they can just go back in. If they can't, then then I hope they applied for district of choice, or they plan to.
And I would also agree with the statements of everybody, and with the continuation of the student in the school for the school year, and applying for district of choice, and again hoping that their housing situation will be able to unfold, you know, in guideline with the policy.
And I would agree with that, and absolutely stay in the district until the end of the year.
Okay, so that's unanimous board approval on that. So, same. Does that give you everything you need?
It does. Thank you, members of the board. The board policy committee will look at that policy and make some recommended changes based on your input, and staff will proceed with in notifying these families of the information gathered tonight.
Thank you very much.
President Conwell?
Yes.
As far as the policy, I absolutely do want to have the committee look at the staying until the end of the year. But also I'm wondering if there's any way that we could add to the policy as far as maybe the number of times that we audit or when we audit, just so that we have, you know, where there's like an audit one time a year, so that we kind of know, you know, what students may be out of our enrollment area, so that we can be a little bit more proactive, or they might be able to apply for district of choice in advance, or, you know, something like that. So that's just something that I'm thinking of, is something, you know, if we would like to discuss the policy.
Yeah, and I think the staff realizes what has transpired, and I think they're looking at making a new procedure to make sure that's accounted for every year.
Well, in the district also, every year you need a proof of address every year, so that's something that all parents, or at least every parent, has to submit their, or re-verify every year. So
that's correct.
Mm-hmm. Is that paperwork that all parents turn in, is that verified prior to school starting? Because I know those forms are due in the summer, and how does that work?
It is our intention that all paperwork is completed and verified prior to school starting. There are a few instances where they have just about everything, and the principal's working with the parent, because we don't want a child to miss the first day of school, because you can only have one first day of school. So it's a balance that our principals work with the parents to really, you know, get on the phone and get the paperwork. It's very important to have it in before school starts.
Okay, right. Okay.
And we do have that process annually, and unfortunately we have found where families move, situations change, the residency verification that they indicated is no longer accurate. There are situations that occur over the course of a school year that come to us, and we, based on current board policy, have been processing that and identifying and notifying families of their next steps.
Trustees, any other questions or comments? Okay. We are on to item 8B, which is conduct the district of choice lottery and create the student waiting list for 20, it should be 20, did I get this right? 2019, 2020, right? Okay. And Sammy, if you want to run away, this is an excellent time.
President Conwell, as you are prepping, could I ask Ms. Madrigal to speak for a moment or two about the process that she goes through to prepare the district of choice lottery?
Thank you. So on the screen, I have displayed for you the District of Choice lottery procedure, and if I could take a few minutes to explain the steps taken in preparation for this evening's lottery. So as you know, the District of Choice application window opened on September the 4th and closed on November the 30th. During that period, we received 84 applications. So the first step in the process is to take all 84 applications and separate them by grade level. And within each grade level, we alphabetize those applications. Then I recruited my Vintage Hall coworker, executive assistant Melissa Hansen, to Chris Heller, to assist me in assigning a lottery number to each student. So Melissa and I sat together, and I would take the pile of transitional kindergarten applications. There were 5 in that stack. I would call the name, the first student in the pile. Melissa would draw a lottery ball, and then she would call it, and I would then note that on the application. So after we assigned a lottery number to each of the students in the transitional kindergarten, we placed those 5 balls in a bag, and Trustee Conwell has them on right there on display. And those are then for the transitional kindergarten. As we neared the high school, we encountered a small issue. A standard lottery set only contains 75 balls, and we had 84 applicants. So you will notice that there we had to purchase another set of balls. So some are gray for the high school while the others are white, and that is so that there isn't any confusion between the two. So this evening, Trustee Haug and President Conwell will go through the lottery, do a reverse process. One will draw a number, the other will call it, and Dr. Wilson and I will serve as the recorders for the waiting list.
Sorry. Does anybody wish to make any public comment before we start this? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw the ball, and I'm going to give it. Oh, sorry. Thanks. Drop the ball, and then Trustee Haug will read that one.
070. G57. B14. I22. I20.
Would you like to mix? We are on to
kindergarten.
Kindergarten, 18 slots.
073. B6. 062. B9. N43. B7. N36. G56. B5. B4. N33. B3. N39. N42. I28. I29. G54. I24.
SBL 18. Okay, we are on to first grade. There are 3.
G51, G47, G58.
We are on second grade, so there's only 1 applicant, so therefore it doesn't need to be drawn. Third grade, there's 10 applicants.
N44, N31, I21, G46, N45, G53, B12, I-18, O-69, B-13.
We're on to fourth grade. There are 6. Says 5. Bag says 6. There are 5 balls. Okay, that's why I'm looking in there going, no matter how I look, it's still not 6. Okay, 5.
B11, B15, O61, N35, O71,
Fifth grade, there are 9.
B2, B1, O74, N34, N38, G48, O63, I25, G59.
We're on to 6th grade, and I have 6.
N32, O75, I17, N37, I27, I19.
Okay, just want to make sure we're all keeping it. Okay, 7th grade, we have 8.
G49, I30, B10, O67, G60, I16, O72, B8.
Okay, 8th grade, we have 6.
I23, N41, I26, G52, O68, O64,
Ninth grade, we have 5.
B7 gray, N37 gray, G49 gray, N31 gray, I22 gray.
10th grade, we have 5.
I26 gray, G52 gray, I19 gray, G46 gray, B8 gray.
Okay, 11th grade, we have 3.
O70, gray. B12, gray. N34, gray.
Did we get everything? Fantastic.
Yes, we have all of the numbers, and now if we could allow Erica to share with the board her next steps with regards to the lottery.
Absolutely. Ms. Madrigal.
So all families will be placed on the waiting list. Everyone is added to the waiting list prior to us delivering invitations to apply and register. So Dr. Wilson and I will work together to send out letters to families notifying them of their spot on the wait list. And then we will review the enrollment caps periodically to see if we're able to extend invitations to those on the wait list.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Madrigal, the list that we just developed is the wait list. There still is not a guarantee, correct?
That's correct.
So we are on to item number 9 under Student Learning and Achievement, 2018-2019 Local Control Accountability Plan Monthly Update. Mr. Chris Heller, please.
Thank you. Tonight, the board is in for a treat in that I won't be presenting, and Ms. Corinne Cox will be presenting. Corinne provided this presentation to the Curriculum, Innovation, and Technology Committee in December, and since it highlighted the work being done at our 4 sites, we felt it was appropriate to share for the innovation and technology that is occurring in our district. And after she's done, the principals are available for any questions that you might have about any of the slides that you would like to further inquire about. So, Corinne, thank you.
You're welcome. Happy New Year, everybody. It's nice to be back. So, in the interest of keeping this moving along, there's slides that apply to each of the other sites. And again, as Mr. Heller said, if you have any further questions, I'm going to step back, and those site principals can respond to those questions. This one's you, Chris. Okay, so just move on.
And that. They're familiar
Move
with
on
that,
also?
too. Yeah,
Okay,
there
so
we go.
we're right into mine then. Okay. So the purpose of this PowerPoint is to really demonstrate how much technology has become part of the daily curriculum at each of our school sites. It's no longer an extra that's kind of frosting on the top, but it really is something that's part of the whole cake, so to speak. It's really integrated into what happens each and every day at all of the sites, rather than being some extra thing that might happen in a computer science class. Our focus is in attempting to develop tech literacy for all of our students, and there's a couple of different ways that we make that happen. One of the ways is through direct instruction, and there's a list of classes that are offered at the various sites where students are directly taught skills and processes and ways of using equipment. And then another thing that happens is that it's embedded in what is in the content and core classes then throughout the day in all of the schools. So an example of that is that all of our students have their own device. So we're one-to-one at all of our sites, as you guys know. And all of our curriculum that we adopted is blended, meaning that there's both the textbook portion of it and also an online portion of it, a digital portion of it. And then throughout the day, it's just part of the core classes. So I know many of you, all of you, go into our classes all the time, and you see the students are just using technology as part of their regular day. So some of the things that we teach, I've been very impressed in this district about how our resources allow us to really make sure that our students have the kind of technology that is cutting edge and that will allow them to really be prepared for whatever comes at them. Obviously, 5 years from now, it's not going to be the same as it is now. 1 year from now, it's not going to be the same. But we really make a huge effort to make sure that we're continually thinking about what can we do to add to the technology that our students are being taught. And some of those things are listed, including we have 3D printers at the middle school and the high school, robotics, circuits, solar energy is taught, wearable electronics, hardware skills, technical training. The high school has tech internships with our IT department. There's a video happens both at the elementary and RLS and at the high school with green screen editing, Photoshop, and a great deal of really advanced software. At the primary school, their focus is a little bit different because of the age of the students, in that it really that it's rather than being STEAM or STEM, it's STREAM, because they have the huge focus on reading, which is the R part. And you can't do any of this without having without integrating reading into it. And that's a big focus at the primary school, is reading how to do things and then figuring it out and then showing that they're able to incorporate those skills. And here's a few examples of the things that they're doing at the primary school with technology. And look how cute they are. Our kids are cute, but they're really cute.
Macy's in the corner.
They're cuter, I'll give you that. At the elementary school, whoa, I don't think I did that. Something happened. I haven't memorized it, sorry. Okay. I think I can at least sort of wing it here for a second, even though it's elementary schools. They use a variety of platforms. Oh, here we go. Back one. There we go. Seesaw, Google Expedition, virtual reality. They use Tinker for scratch coding, Python programming language during the Tech Focus Day at lunch in the library. Students are working collaboratively with Google Docs and slides throughout the day. They have a green screen at the elementary school, and then they use technology. The teachers use technology in addition to the students in order to enhance and differentiate instruction, which actually is one of the huge benefits of technology in education, is that it allows a level of differentiation that is, it's really difficult no matter what, but it makes it far more doable than it was in the past. RLS, the elementary school, and the primary school all have makerspaces. The focus of makerspace is the engineering design process, including that cycle of defining a problem, identifying, brainstorming possible solutions, selecting the solution you want to try, building prototypes, testing, and then iterating. So trying another iteration of it to see if you can improve it. And the communication piece obviously is really important. And you can see some examples of all the different things that are happening in the makerspace classrooms. So some of it is very technology oriented, and some of it is really hands-on, learning to do the things that we used to take for granted that kids could do. You know, teaching them how to manipulate a needle and thread as part of a technology project. So you can see in the upper left, for example, they're working on wearable electronics, and that was around Halloween. That particular student was making a mask that lit up, but they designed the mask, cut it out, sewed it, built in the electronics, created the circuits, and so it was a kind of a combination of a lot of different skills. And we have a little bit of a technology glitch, but I've got one that I can show you. Some of them are requiring passwords that we don't have. So an example of what embedded technology looks like, this is a daily lesson from one of our teachers, and you can just kind of scroll through it, where the students open it up and there's a variety of activities, and those are hyperlinked all over. So where, for example, it says go to Edmentum, they can click on that, and then they log right into that account. When it says go to an organizer, they go right to their file organizer. And then there's sentence frames to support kids who need additional scaffolding. And there's an exit task. What am I learning? By the end of the period, I'll be able to explain, and so on. So this particular teacher uses ClassFlow so that students are individually responding to the instruction, and so that each student their education can be differentiated to meet their own needs. And so there's layers that are built into this, and then they can work at the level that they need to be working at. Thank you, Erica. Some of the other examples that I had on there is, we can't open them, but there's an interactive notebook that is used, which is pretty cool, and I'd be happy to show you if you guys ever want to come over to RLS and take a look. And then collaboration, much as Tanya had in the for the elementary school, the students all work on shared Google Docs, so they're always using that technology as a tool for increasing the collaboration that's happening in their classrooms. And their collaboration with the teacher, because they can respond on it. One of the amazing things that we're able to offer students is incredible field trips. So both the high school and RLS have exploring computer science classes and that CTE strand. And Mr. Harrington takes them to NASA, Google, and Intel, where they actually get to go into the air thingy. What's it called? Somebody help me out. I just had a complete glitch. Thank you, the Mr. Pilot guy. I could not come up with that for anything. So it's we're fortunate to be here in the Bay Area where there are so many great field trips that kids can go to, but this is really powerful. It blows me away that these incredibly talented individuals are willing to give of their time and explain to our students what they're doing and make it come alive for them so that they can really see how science and technology and engineering and mathematics work together to allow them to it's not, problems on a page. It's going through a wind tunnel and building prototypes that might change the way we all function in the world. It's very impressive that we can do this. One of the classes that they do specifically at the high school is AutoCAD, which is an introductory course using the AutoCAD and SolidWorks software. And that's the industry standard. So people use that in the real world, not just some, education light version of it. It's the real thing. And students can then learn the skills and processes to draw mechanical parts and plans, and learning the basics of creation and manipulation with a variety of computer command inputs, including shortcuts, toolbox icons, and menu selection. Any questions on any of this information?
First of all, any public comment? Trustees, any questions or comments?
Just wanted to comment that there is a field trip today to Google, and I think that it speaks to the relationship that Mr. Harrington has built up with these fantastic companies that they are also being served lunch at Google today.
Well, I think it's one of the things that good manners get you, because I know they always do thank you notes, and that people recognize that, and it makes them remember. And our students are a pleasure to have, and they behave really well, and they have high standards and expectations, and we can take them in public and not be embarrassed. So, any other questions? Not at this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great update. We are on to item number 9B, which is a presentation on the district English language development goals. And Ms. Mary Ellen, please.
Sorry. Good evening again. Let me just get myself set here. So as we started out with the board meeting tonight, we were showing or having 3 students talk about English language development from their perspective. And anybody, I wanted you to know that Giovanna as well as Luis was the first gentleman speaking, and Giovanna was our wonderful lady speaking. They've been in our district since 3rd grade. If they go beyond 5 years, they're considered LTELs, long-term English learners. And those are the particular students that we're really worried about, of why have we not been able to get them reclassified so quickly. So just a quick comment is, Giovanna, we went through all the questions prior to coming to the meeting tonight, but Giovanna's issue was she did not understand the directions that the teachers were giving her. She could speak to you in English, but she did not understand the academic language of the directions. And Luis's main issue, besides some of the the medical that he had, was writing. So just constantly trying to figure out what is happening that we can help these students out with. So, you heard a little bit from goal number 2, which Mr. Heller started with in reference to an LCAP review. English language learner development goals fall under goal number 2 for the LCAP. English language development is a systematic instructional model designed to improve language proficiency for English language learners. In our particular district, it's Spanish. So most of our students that are English language learners are Spanish. Other districts, you have multiple languages that they're trying to teach English. And the reason we're trying to teach English is because all of the curriculum and everything that we do in the American society requires English. And so that's the goal of this, is to get them to a level that they can understand the textbook, they can understand the instruction, to where they can have success with our American school system. Under the English language development goal, under LCAP goal number 2, is there's several actions that we're doing related to English language development. I'm not going to go through each one of the actions, but I'm going to point out some of the actions that we currently have that we're focused on this year. Action number 2 is designate an integrated ELD instruction in our classroom. All English learners have to have a minimum of 30 minutes per day of English language instruction. So designated foundational language skills that they can receive from a teacher during the day. And then integrated happens throughout the day within all the other core subjects of English language learners. And so we currently do that. And at the lower grades, specifically for the elementary and the middle school, since they get out early on Wednesday, we have 4 days that they receive 30 minutes, and then we try to incorporate integrated ELD as much as possible elsewhere. For the middle school, we started a new curriculum this year. It's called English 3D. Comes out of Kate Kinsella, who's widely known for wonderful work with ELD instruction. And so Ms. Simon is extremely excited with this particular program and is doing a great job. Action number 5, I'm not going to go through each one of these in detail, but action number 5, we've been working very heavily with West Ed for ELD development, and it has to do with a framework. The state has given us a framework of how this should look in the school system to really drill down with text features and text deconstruction to really help the teachers understand how to deliver a particular lesson that all students can get it, no matter if they're high achieving or if they're struggling. And it's a really great training, and this is just a sample of one of our agendas that we had in December for our 5th grade cohort. GLAD training. You can read through this as well, but this is a guided language acquisition design training. We've had our 3rd grade teachers trained, our TK through 5th grade Spanish teacher, and our 2nd grade teacher, one of our 2nd grade teachers trained in the GLAD. It's a wonderful model. It's been out there forever. We're trying to get all of our teachers trained in that particular instructional model. We are going to continue with our Depth of Knowledge training, which is now that we have a lesson design of what we're trying to, the methodology with the GRR, the Gradual Release of Responsibility. Now, how do we increase the rigor of what we're teaching in the classroom, and how do we know that they're getting what we're teaching in the classroom? So we're really focused on the depth of knowledge and success criteria this year, and we'll continue to stay focused on that because that helps all students, and it specifically is dealing with classroom level. The administrators are receiving additional training. They have a lot of training already, but they're receiving additional training related to integrated and designated ELD, and also the new English language learner roadmap. And this particular module comes out of Riverside County Office of Ed. And then our next steps, again, you can see we have several actions, and this isn't even the half of them. We're going to continue training of teachers and administrators with WestEd ELD coaches. 6th through 12th grade will start ELD training this semester. Matter of fact, I have a conference call tomorrow to get that going. We have we're excited about this, 2 summer WestEd Institutes will be held in St. Helena, northern part of California, but here in St. Helena in our school district, they asked if they could actually work with us and hold the institutes up here. So we will be having several districts coming to St. Helena in June for an ELD Institute, which will be 4-day, and an ELD Math Institute, which will be 2 days. So we're really excited about that. And then the next step that we need to do is, now that everybody's learning a little bit more about the English language roadmap, we are going to be doing a needs assessment based on the rubric that comes out of that roadmap. And those are the next steps. Questions?
Any public comment? Trustees, any questions or comments?
One question for clarification. On the summer institutes, is that for all staff to participate in? Is it optional, or is that something that obviously you would attend as the Director of Curriculum and Instruction? But I'm just curious, is that something that's professional development as well?
Yeah, it's professional development, and since it's run out of WestEd and we're going to be utilizing our site, we get 6 slots. Okay. So we get 6 slots for each institute, paid free of charge.
Okay.
And then I'm sure we might be able to work some other things to where we might get perhaps a discount on some other areas.
Okay. Thank you.
How many openings are there in total then? Or
they're looking for 120 participants. And again, this will be, I'm sure we will have folks from all of Northern California joining this. WestEd has a great reputation.
I just had a comment on the roadmap rubric. I'm excited because I actually went to the CSBA. This was one of the topics I went to, and they talked about the rubric. I talked with Mary Ellen, but I think it's important just because of the roadmap, it's a policy, and as far as me, it's a lot of learning. So, but to see it kind of at the school level, I think it's important, not just for us, but for the public to kind of see what that looks like in the classroom. So I'm glad that you guys we'll be doing that soon. So I'm excited for that. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And of course, you don't have to go far because you're just going to flip.
You're
just going to flip the next one. So we are on to item C, which is review of progress on the district intervention plan for 2018-19 school year. Ms. Mary Allen, please.
Okay, so let's see if I can put it all together. So at the beginning of the school year, we received our state scores related to English language arts and mathematics. Out of that came an intervention plan of what we were going to do this year because the scores had not met the expectations that we would have liked for the school district. So that's where this plan came out of. What I'm going to do tonight is just highlight a few of those features. You have the full plan sent to you on the board on the board docs. So I'm just going to touch on a few of those areas. So again, one of our major focuses this year, TK5, is the multi-tiered system of support. We will be dealing with the secondary level. However, the main focus should be at the lower grades so we can prevent and apply as much as possible until we can get to the secondary level. So currently we're in the process of doing a very extensive needs assessment at the district level at those grades, as well as the site level for each school. It's an actual needs assessment that comes out of the Orange County Office of Ed. And then we're creating a 4-year plan. We're training staff. Tanya and Tamara are doing a wonderful job of working this through. We have set committees now for MTSS called the Best Teams. And they just had a full VA day yesterday on the MTSS. So it's up and running, and it's going to take a lot of work, and they're doing a great job so far, and so are the committees that are working with them, the committee members. Edmentum, and you saw in the technology, that was nice to see. Edmentum is one of our online personalized learning platforms. And what's nice about Edmentum and why we wanted to start it this year is that we take the MAP, which is the Measures for Academic Progress scores, and we upload that into the Edmentum program, and the Edmentum program creates individualized lessons that that particular student needs to work on, whether it's above grade level or below grade level or on grade level. It gives them those individual platforms. And right now, we currently have it at the elementary schools doing English and math. At RLS, we're doing English with Edmentum. And at the high school, Mr. Farrell is using it in his pre-integrated one classroom for students because it deals with foundational skills that students need to prep up on. The next part of the action plan, or a highlight of the action plan, intervention plan that we're doing, is interim comprehensive assessments and interim assessment blocks. Kind of hard to explain, but they mimic the state test. It's out of the state. It's created by the SBAC system. So it's not just for California, but it's created by the SBAC system. But the actual interim comprehensive assessment, it is approximately 50-something questions. It is like you are taking the CASP, and it gives you the results of how you would possibly do currently on the CASP. And it allows us to get those results and then go ahead and work with it, driving our instruction. The issue with the interim comprehensive assessment that we've had in the past is that it takes a lot of time. So we're looking to, at our high school level for 11th grade, we've always replaced the mid-year MAP assessment with the ICA. We will now be replacing the mid-year math MAP assessment with the ICA. So they won't have to get double tested, but we're going to give them that so we can kind of get a real feel from you're doing CASP-like questions. It comes out of the CASP system, and here's what your results would be if you took the CASP right now. So it's a great thing to do. At the lower grades, at the elementary and RLS, we'll be looking at interim assessment blocks. These are small skill set tests that are focused on discrete areas. And what we're looking at right now are performance tasks. Performance tasks are the part of the CAST state tests that require you to not only do the computations and solve the problem, but you have to explain it, of how you solved it in full sentences, and you have to apply it. And that is really hard to do. So we will be doing some performance tasks with our students and then calibrating that and grading it as school grade level teams so we have an idea of where our students are missing. And so it's we're excited, and I think it's really going to be an eye-opener, I think, for all of us to see what's happening with our students. And it gives us another piece of information to help improve our instruction. Added additional strategies, added post-study sessions. So when we provided all the data, the multiple measures that we used, there were some additional things that came out of that. So we are going to start doing alignment across the district. We're going to have teachers move to feeder grade level sites to observe and discuss at collaboration and department meetings on the subject of mathematics, just mathematics. We really want them to talk and see what's happening at the various sites and really have those conversations. We're going to revisit analyzing the gaps in standards across all grade levels. When we first got into Common Core, which was 5 years ago now, we started doing the curriculum mapping and pacing guides. We need to come back around now that we have a really good handle on the Common Core and how it's changed. We're implementing the IAB performance tasks, and we're thinking about doing it at the second grade level. Tamara and I have talked about it. We have brought it up at the math task force, and we're thinking about having that happen because the second graders are expected to have to perform in third grade the performance task, and if they have no clue of what that expectation will be like, plus the performance test is usually a grade below than what they're tested on, it will give us some feedback on our second graders as well as second graders on the gaps that they might actually have or the strengths that they might actually have. So that'll drive instruction as well. We're reviewing looping, the instructional program, and simply because we are really concerned, I'm going to just speak for myself, concerned about the instructional experts that the Common Core requires. We are having science standards come up with the new textbooks. We're having history new textbooks come up. You have to be an expert in these areas, and it's hard for a teacher. I can't imagine being a teacher and having to be an expert at 2 different grade levels in math, English, science, and social studies at the lower grades. So it is coming up again as far as something that we're reviewing. We are also going to implement sample cast practice test taking with the staff at the lower grades at the primary level. So they'll actually just at one of their faculty meetings take a practice test, state test, just so they have an idea what the expectations are when they hit 3rd grades for the students that are coming up. So, questions. That was a lot, and I was tongue-tied, and I apologize.
First, we'll start off if there's any public comment. Trustees, questions or comments?
You know, my comment is this is all so interesting. I mean, and I'm not being sarcastic when I'm saying that at all. I mean, it's amazing all the things that are out there, you know, and so originally my question that I have written down is how do we know that all of this is working? But I'm seeing through as we went along, seeing it just with the different, and I don't know all of the names of it and things, but it looks like we're, you know, just like the mid-year assessments and that type of thing that we're trying to connect everything. So I very much appreciate that very much. And it's, and then at the end of the year, I'm assuming that as we're looking at all of the data once again, we'll say, okay, well, this is working, but this is not, you know, like that. So it's
constantly. You are correct. Yes, we are constantly evaluating. Did this work? Did this not work? Can we tie this particular program to the results here? So yes, we're always evaluating. So, and I appreciate that you were able to see that there are connections. We are trying to make everything aligned.
Right. Thank you.
I just, regarding the Edmentum, so that what you said was about foundations, right? It focuses on foundations. Is that the one that was?
Well, for Brandon students that are in pre-integrated, those are students that are struggling in math.
Sure. Okay.
And so they were given, Edmentum only goes TK8.
Okay.
So we gave those particular students the 8th grade assessment, Edmentum assessment, and it really did show that some of those foundational skills in 3rd grade and 4th grade are missing. So it allows them to have lessons independent of what Brandon is teaching related to integrated 1. It allows them some time in the classroom to work on those foundational skills, because they'll never have success moving on if they can't get some of those gaps filled.
And
but it also goes beyond that.
Okay.
So it'll have students, I know in Tanya, we were just looking at a few of them yesterday in a training that we were in, and we have some students that are in 3rd grade that are showing some 6th grade skills.
And do they get immediate feedback on when they work on these online programs? Okay. Okay.
And it's a mastery, so they have to show some mastery. It gives them it has a whole bunch of, I'll actually demonstrate it at one point or another for all of you.
I know it was just touched on at the end, but the review of the looping, I think that it makes sense now to start looking at that. However, when we talk about review of looping, are we talking about getting feedback from the community, from staff? How are we going about that review process, or has anything really been put into place yet, or are we just putting it out there as a topic?
Mary Lou, would you like to jump in?
Sure. Our principals and Mr. Heller and Ms. Allen have been talking about this item since the study session. The principals have also talked with, Tanya and Tamara have talked with the teachers at their school sites. And looking at the data, looking at the research, talking with the professors from UC Davis. You remember that both schools are attending a professional development process at UC Davis. So working with them as well around what is really best for our students. And the conversation is not finished. We want to hear everyone's voice, and at the same time, as the educational experts in the room, as a team of educators, we will make a decision at some point this school year before moving forward. Our intention at this time, certainly we want to hear from parents when they are interested, and we do need to make this decision because we need to make a decision based on what we know about how our students are achieving, and so we are working on it, and we'll continue to move forward, and there'll be more information to come.
That was actually my question about the looping, so thank you for that. And then thank you to Tanya and Tamara for doing a lot of the MTSS work, because I feel like that's important. The younger that we start and are able to catch that, it should hopefully alleviate down the road and be able to help that. So thank you, and to the committees.
Thank you.
One final comment, this is just a comment too, is I can understand with the how difficult and how challenging it must be for our teaching staff, our professionals to master to grade levels of everything, I mean, so I can imagine that it's probably sometimes just stressful for them, to be able to teach 2 grades as well, especially in the age of Common Core. So that's my comment with that. So it's important that they have mastery of what they're teaching. So I guess that's just all I wanted to say. So I understand what's going on with that. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
So my comment is I am completely impressed with what's the district staff, what their principals have done, and what a quick kind of look at after our study session this has been. I mean, I'm very pleased with that. What also the looping kind of jumps out. And what's interesting is, we made a decision to looping before Common Core. And now, with what I'm gathering, is that knowing what Common Core is today, had we known that 5 or 6 years ago, we might not have even ever had that option, because we want the best for our students. And it could be that now with the Common Core that we want grade level experts, and so we want our staff to be the best and be able to provide the most for our students. And so I really applaud your group for going as quickly as you've been going, and also looking at things and saying, well, anything is available, and let's look at our process. And so we'll just kind of wait and see what comes down the road. But I think this is very exciting for our students and for the future of the district. So I think the whole board kind of is up on edge off this one, because we love to hear this stuff, and it's great to hear. Thank you.
And if I could just remind the board, and I know you know this, just a shout out to our entire educational team. Our principals are leading this charge with the support of Mary and Chris, and it's the teachers in the classroom that are making a difference with the students and ensuring that the differentiation is occurring. They're meeting in professional learning communities. They're looking at data. They're analyzing their students' work, and they are very committed to ensuring that every student succeeds. And we just have to make sure that we say thank you to our teachers and all of our entire team, as a matter of fact, our classified team as well, because every employee in this district is here for students.
Thank you very much. Thanks. We are on to item number 10, Human Resources. This is consideration of approval for Resolution 18-17, Order of Layoff for Certificated Employees, Tie-Breaking Criteria. Mr. Chris Heller.
Thank you. Tonight, the board is asked to consider approval of Resolution 1817, which establishes this order of layoff for certificated employees in the district in alignment with California Education Code 44955B. While we don't anticipate a need for layoffs in March, it is always a good practice for us to conduct these two resolutions, this and the second one, in January, just in case there's an unforeseen financial event that would cause us to require layoffs. So approving this resolution just is a good practice for us to continue. So I would ask that we would do the roll call and approve this resolution.
Okay, is there any public comment? Trustees, any questions or comments? No. Is there a motion to approve the adoption of Resolution 18-17?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
As many of you are in favor of this adoption, as your name is called, answer aye if you are in favor. If you are opposed, answer no. Trustee Elkeen?
Aye.
Trustee Kerr?
Aye.
Trustee Pelosi?
Aye.
Trustee Haug?
Aye.
President Conwell?
Aye. Motion carries. We're on to 10B, which is consideration of approval for Resolution 18-18, skipping and competence criteria. Mr. Chris Heller.
Yep. So similar to Resolution 18-17, this resolution would establish skipping and bumping process for certificated employees in the event of a layoff in accordance with 44955D. This process would allow employees who have less seniority but more experience in a particular area of the need in the district to be able to skip a more senior employee. Again, we don't anticipate that, but the three conditions that we have identified as a potential need are listed on the resolution for your review. And so I would ask that you would approve this resolution as well.
Is there any public comment? Trustees, any questions or comments? Is there a motion to approve the adoption of Resolution 18-18?
I make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Yes, Trustee Elkeen?
Aye.
Kerr?
Aye.
Trustee Pelosi?
Aye.
Trustee Haug?
Aye.
President Conwell?
Aye. Motion carries. We're on 10C, initial sunshine proposal from St. Helena Unified School District to St. Helena Teachers Association for collective bargaining negotiations. Mr. Chris Heller, please.
Thank you. As the board is aware, our current 3-year collective bargaining agreement with the St. Helena Teachers Association will expire this June 2019. And so in preparation for negotiations, the district is providing this sunshine document, which provides detail on articles where we have an interest in proposing current language or proposing changes to current language. The articles listed below are for public review and input between now and the February meeting, where we would ask for the board's approval to begin negotiations thereafter with SHTA. So tonight it's just an information item for your review and for the public's consumption, and we will entertain public input at the February board meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Is there any public comment? Trustees, any questions or comments concerning this document? No. Okay, we'll look forward to seeing it next month. Thank you. We're on to item 10D, which is initial sunshine proposal for SHTA to St. Helena Unified School District for collective bargaining negotiation. Mr. Brandon Farrell.
This is the same thing as Mr. Heller. I wish I would have listened to Mr. Heller just a little bit more, but it's the same thing, just in the reverse order. So the SHTA is required to submit all articles or any articles that they are interested in negotiating. So we're just going through the process of opening up collective bargaining.
Thank you very much. Any public comment? Trustees, any questions or comments? We're on to item number 11, consent agenda. Is there any item in consent that trustees would like to be pulled and discussed later? Okay.
President Conwell?
Yes.
Could I just interrupt and just make note of item 11G, the personnel register,
Yes.
the section with regards to retirements. You'll note that we have 6 of our longtime teachers in the district that have announced their retirement. They are working hard and fast through the end of the school year. We will celebrate their retirements at the employee celebration in May on the 7th. We'll acknowledge their retirements and celebrate with them. just a shout out to these teachers who have given many years of dedication to our students, and we wish them the very best in their retirement.
Thank you for making that comment. So, item number 11, the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. We are on to item number 12, which is approval of the public disclosure of cost savings certification for the Early Retirement Incentive Program, ERIP. That sounds like Miss Andy Stubbs.
That's an accurate guess. Thank you. We have an MOU in place with the St. Helena Teachers Association to allow for a 2-year retirement incentive this year for certificated non-management staff. And during the October 2018 board meeting, the board approved a resolution opening up a window for retirement of May 1st, 2019 through July 31st, 2019. With letters due to the district by January 3rd. And so we have received 6 letters of retirement from certificated non-management staff. And so the board is now required to review and consider approval of the public disclosure of costs associated with offering this. And so in order for us to be able to offer it, the County Office of Education and the CalSTRS department will need to certify that we can demonstrate savings. And so I conducted the cost analysis, and you can see that there. And Erica, if you can cursor down to the very far corner, we've got that highlighted figure of little under $101,000. And so that would be the estimated cost savings over 5 years. And that's assuming the highest possible replacement cost for the staff that's retiring, because we place teachers as high as column 5 in our salary schedule at a step 11, and then assuming full medical benefits at the family level. So likely we'll realize savings that are greater than that over 5 years, because typically on average we will, our new hires, we may not be placing them that high. And so the total cost of offering the 2-year retirement incentive for this year would be about $512,000 one time. And so I am recommending that we pay for that in one lump sum versus deferring it as we set up for the last time we did a retirement incentive, because the interest rate is still high at about 7.5%. And we can use some of our one-time reserves to pay for this cost. And so when the board reviews and considers approval of these public disclosures the way they're presented, then you would be approving that one lump sum also. And so with that, I would turn it over to the board for questions.
Any public comment? Trustees, any questions or comments?
My comment was that I feel comfortable with a one-time payment of this.
I would concur with Trustee Kerr.
I agree with that as well.
So just to confirm that this will come back to us once it's approved by the county, is that correct, or are we going to vote on this now?
This would be voting to approve the public disclosure of costs.
Okay. Okay. So is there a motion to approve the public disclosure of costs for the certificate?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We're on to item number 13, which is the 2019 Summer Aquatics Program update. It is a written report. First of all, is there any public comment at all? Trustees, any questions or comments on the written report that was presented, that was in our document? Nope.
My comment is I always like to see new programming, and this one looks like a good one with
Good.
a new program in there. So.
Yeah.
And actually, I take that back. I wrote a little note here on the side to remember. They talked about the offset of the potential desire for some equipment, but against the cost of the annual cost of chlorine. But I did not see in that report what is the annual cost of chlorine. And you don't need to answer that right now because I did not ask you that at a time. And I apologize. It was just one of those little Post-its I put on there. So perhaps you can let me know or let the board know at a later date. That would be fine. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think that's great, and we certainly should look at anything like that that's going to lower the chemical use and is cheaper to the district, so long term. So that's potential out there for us. Item number 14, board member reports. Trustee Howard.
So I would like to ask the indulgence of my fellow board members that I report on RLS next month, because I have been on jury duty all week and have not had time to prepare anything.
Excellent. Superintendent subcommittee reports. Do we have any? Wait a minute.
Maybe just
we
one.
have a cafe planning meeting. LCAP committee was Tuesday, December 18th. Mary Lou?
Yes, that's a subcommittee of the LCAP steering committee that I have the pleasure of chairing. Our consultant, Babs Kavanaugh, Tanya Pearson, and Ben Cinto, along with one of our parents, Mrs. Steele, met to continue our conversation around planning for the cafe. I would encourage each of our board members to go online and register to attend. RSVP, please, if you haven't done so already, as well as the entire community. You can RSVP by school site. If you have more than one child, choose one of the school sites to represent, and please make sure that you join us. It is on February 19th. We'll be at the Native Sons Hall. We'll have a grab-and-go quick dinner to begin with. We do have childcare, and then you'll be put into a group and have an opportunity to answer lots of questions that will help us to know more about how our students are feeling, thinking, and succeeding in our district. It will support work with regards to the LCAP, and it will also help us to update and refresh our mission and vision statement, which you charged us with at the beginning of this school year. We will be taking the questions to the steering committee in just a couple of weeks for a final approval. And I just again encourage everyone, please invite a friend, RSVP, come to the cafe. It's going to be a great event to talk about and learn more about our schools.
Thank you. And with that, I think we're going to go, wait a minute, do we have anything? Mr. Farrell, nothing? Okay. Back to the superintendent. Do you have an additional report you'd like to give us?
Happy New Year.
Okay. That was easy. We are on to item number 15, which is future agenda items. Trustees, there's a list. Our next board meeting is Valentine's Day for everybody, so I'm sure we'll have something fun. And anything anybody would like to add to the upcoming list?
I'm not adding to the upcoming list, but I would just like to give a little word of commendation to the young child who's been here throughout our entire meeting and have been extremely well behaved. And I think that he deserves a round of applause, because that's a lot to sit through.
Excellent point. Excellent. So this brings us to item number 16, adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Thank you. Drive safe.
Thank you.